Healing isn't what Instagram makes it look like. You know what I mean? Those perfectly curated posts with the green smoothies and the I love my body affirmations, or the woman doing yoga at sunrise with the caption, "Food is just fuel now." And you're sitting there at 9 p.m. with an empty bag of chips thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just love my body and eat intuitively like her? Well, I'm here to tell you the real truth about what healing your relationship with food actually looks like. Because I've been on this journey for years now. I've worked other women through it, and I can promise you it is messier, slower, and way more human than what you often see online. But it's also more beautiful and more sustainable than anything those highlight reels could ever show you. So if you've ever been wondering if you're doing it wrong because your healing doesn't look like a wellness influencer's feed, this one is for you. Let me paint you a picture of what we think healing should look like. You wake up one day and suddenly you just get it. You eat when you're hungry, you stop when you're full, you never think about food unless your stomach is growling, you look in the mirror and feel nothing but love and gratitude. You order the salad because you genuinely want it, not because you're trying to be good. You crave kale, forget sugar exists, and never eat emotionally again. Yeah, that's not how it works. Here's what healing actually looked like, for me at least. It was a Tuesday night about 2 years into my healing journey. I'd been working on my relationship with food, I've done the inner work, I'd read all the books, and I found myself standing in the kitchen at 9 p.m., stress eating cookies straight from the box because something had upset me before. And instead of the old me who would have spiraled into shame, maybe even eaten more afterwards and planned to start fresh again tomorrow, I just paused. I looked at myself and thought, okay, this is happening. I'm using food to cope right now. That is human, but what do I actually need? In that moment, that is healing. Not because I stopped binge eating or stopped eating at all, but because I stayed with myself instead of abandoning myself. Healing isn't about being perfect or never using food for comfort again. It's about staying present and connected to yourself, even in the messy moments. The thing nobody tells you about healing your relationship with food is that there's this long, messy middle phase. You're not where you used to be, constantly restricting and binging and hating yourself, but you're also not where you want to be, completely at peace with food and your body. You're somewhere in between, and that in-between space, it is uncomfortable as hell. Let me tell you about a past client of mine. When she started working with me, she was in that exact space. She stopped dieting, which was huge for her. She wasn't restricting anymore, but she was still overeating here and there. She still felt out of control around certain foods, still avoided social events when she didn't feel good in her body. And then she came to me one day and said, I feel like I'm doing everything wrong. I'm not dieting anymore, but I'm not healed either. I feel stuck. And I told her what I'm telling you right now. That messy middle is not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're healing. That space in between is exactly where most people give up, because it feels like you're stuck. But the truth is, this is the work. And here's what was actually happening for her. Her nervous system was learning to feel safe around food for the first time in years. Her body was learning to trust that food was always available. Her brain was rewiring decades of diet culture programming. And that takes time. It doesn't happen in a straight line. It's uncomfortable because your old coping tools are gone, but the new ones aren't automatic yet. You might still eat out of boredom or stress, but now you notice and you get curious. And that curiosity, that is where the real healing happens. So what does it actually look like when you start to heal your relationship with food? It's not that you never overeat again. It's that when you do, you don't spend the next 3 days hating yourself for it. It's not that you never want chocolate again. It's that you can have chocolate in your house without calling it your name from the pantry. It's not that you love every part of your body every single day. It's that you stop putting your life on hold until you lose those last 10 pounds. Let me give you some real examples. 2 weeks ago, I got back from 4 days in Paris. We went to watch a skating contest, something my husband and I have always loved watching from home, and this year we finally decided to see it live. And of course, we did also some exploring. And what really stood out to me was how different this trip felt compared to how it would have felt a few years ago. Because if I'm honest, before healing my relationship with food and my body, trips like this used to be hard. Not because of the travel itself, but because of the constant food and body image anxiety that came with it. Stadium food, well, not healthy enough. Sitting more and moving less, well, cue the guilt. Enjoying a croissant without tracking or making up for it later, well, practically impossible. I would have spent the whole trip either restricting or feeling deprived, or eating everything and then planning my punishment diet for when I got home. But this time it felt easy. I didn't obsess over food, I didn't overthink what I should eat. I just enjoyed the experience, the food, the time with my boys, the memories we were making. I had that croissant and it was delicious. I ate the stadium food and I didn't think twice about it. I sat for hours watching the contest and felt zero guilt about not getting my steps in. And I felt so proud of that. Because it's one of those quiet reminders of how far you've come. And that's what healing looks like. Not because I made the perfect choices, but because I made choices from a place of self-trust instead of self-control. Or here's another one. A few weeks ago, I was having a really stressful day. A teething toddler, difficult conversations, just one of those days. And I found myself reaching for food when I wasn't physically hungry. Old me would have either white-knuckled through it and been proud of my willpower, or given in and then felt terrible about myself. But here's what I did instead. I paused and I asked myself, what do I actually need right now? And the answer wasn't food. It was to call my friend and vent for 10 minutes. So I did that instead. But here's the key. If I had still chosen to eat something, that would have been okay too. Because healing isn't about never using food for comfort. It's about having other options and being conscious about your choices. Now, can we talk about timelines for a second? Because I think this is where a lot of people get discouraged. We live in a world of 30-day challenges and 12-week transformations, or the 75 hard. So when you start healing your relationship with food, you expect to see dramatic changes quickly. But healing trauma, and yes, diet culture creates trauma, takes time. I always tell my clients to think in seasons or even phases and not weeks. In your first season of healing, you might just be learning to recognize your patterns. You're becoming aware of when you eat for emotional reasons versus physical hunger, or you're starting to notice the voice in your head that says you're good or bad based on what you ate. In your second season, you might be experimenting with new responses. Instead of automatically restricting after a binge, you try eating normally the next day. Instead of avoiding social events, you go and practice being present instead of obsessing about food. By your third or fourth season, things start to feel more natural. You're not thinking about food all the time. You're making choices from a place of self-care and self-love and not self-control or self-hate. You're showing up in your life instead of waiting until you fix yourself. But even then, even years into this journey, you still have moments, days when you use food to cope, times when you feel disconnected from your body, periods when the old thoughts creep back in. And that is not a sign that you're broken or that your healing isn't working. That's just being human. Healing is not a destination, it is a relationship you build with yourself over time. The real transformation isn't about never struggling, it's about how you relate to yourself when you struggle. You stop making food the enemy, you stop seeing slip up as a proof you're broken. You start asking, what is really going on here? Instead of, how do I undo this? And when you do that consistently, your body starts to trust you, your brain quiets down, your life opens up. And that is what food freedom actually looks like. If what I'm sharing resonates with you, if you're tired of the all or nothing cycle and ready to do this healing work for real, I want you to know that you don't have to figure it out alone. The Nourish Method, my signature program, is open for enrollment right now. And this is exactly the kind of deep, sustainable transformation we focus on inside the program. This isn't another quick fix or 30-day challenge. This is a 16-week or 4-month-long journey where we address the root causes of your struggles with food, the emotional patterns, the nervous system dysregulation, the identity work that needs to happen for lasting change. We have limited one-on-one coaching spots available where you get personalized support and weekly check-ins with me. But if you're not ready for that level of investment, we also have a self-paced version where you get all the same content and frameworks to work through at your own speed. Either way, you're getting the exact method I used with many women before to help them stop the binge-restrict cycle, lose weight without obsession, and finally feel at peace in their bodies. The link is in the description below. If you have been waiting for the right time to start this work, I want to gently remind you, there's never the perfect time, but there is a ready time. And if you're watching this video, you might already be there. And if this video helped you feel a little less alone in your healing journey, if it reminded you that you're not doing it wrong or just because it's messy, hit that like and subscribe button and maybe even the bell, and drop a comment and let me know what part of your healing journey feels the most human right now. I read every comment and I'd love to hear where you are at because your story matters. Now remember, healing your relationship with food isn't Instagram pretty. It's real, messy, and human, and beautiful, and you deserve to experience it for yourself. Lots of love, and I will see you in the next video.